For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me for Suttner's View, a weekly commentary on South Africa's political scene. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
What do you see as the implications of the State of Capture report?
Yeah, you know, it's in some senses the report confirmed what was already in the media. But on the other hand, in bringing out this report, the public protector, or the former public protector, had a very large burden on her shoulder because it was very important to do it. The stakes are so high that it was very important to discharge her tasks in a manner that could not be challenged by other people, and consequently, and also the notion of state capture, I don't know if it's a good or a bad word, but the notion of state capture implies that the sovereignty of the state is being surrendered through the relationship between some individuals and some private people. So state office bearers are almost committing treason by what they're doing. So it's a very heavy burden that the public protector had to discharge. And the way she's done it is not exactly the same as the Nkandla report, although I've not gone through every section of the report. But as I see it, what she has done is she has presented certain evidence and left the reader in many cases to draw conclusions. She doesn't make absolute findings as she did with Nkandla. What she does at the end of the in the recommendations is she recommends that the President appoint a judicial commission of inquiry, and through that judicial commission of inquiry they would achieve finality in regard to these issues which she has raised. For example, the irregularities or alleged irregularities attaching to Eskom's contract with Tegeta, which allegedly benefited the Gupta family, and where it appears that the Bank of Baroda from India was also involved in irregularities. A number of other things related to the appointment of Des van Rooyen, the claims that they offered 600 million to BC Jonas, and they asked him if he had a bag there, the briefcase there, that he could take the money. And what is interesting is that she also safeguards the report from the potentiality of a type of Sariti commission, whitewash type commission, because her recommendation, which is binding, unless it goes on review, and I'll come back to that, it's binding. She recommends that the judge, the sole judge who hears the report over a period of 180 days, will be appointed, not by Zuma, it will be appointed by Zuma, but after the Chief Justice has given him one name. So the Chief Justice has safeguarded against the appointment of someone who will see the report through in a way that is unsatisfactory. Now, there are a number of things that come out in the report which suggest corruption, which suggest irregular processes of granting of rights through state entities, and a number of these things. And it is in a week which has really been dominated by, on the one hand, those who wish to defend the state resources from attack, and those who are bent on diverting state resources from attack. And the week began with the withdrawal of charges against Pravin Gordhan, where the Hawks and SARS, who laid the charge, and the NPA have been intent on getting Gordhan out of the way, and Gordhan is seen as a person who's defending state resources against capture or diversion for illegal purposes. It is also the week of the SARS hostage drama, so-called, where it's almost unbelievable where they held this person hostage because he had a document which really showed that the case against Gordhan, they didn't think that there was, or he didn't think that the pension payout was irregular. Now, what also happened in relation to the interdict, Zuma tried to interdict the so-called state capture report. And as with the Nkandla thing, having spun out the case and incurred a lot of expenses, he withdrew the application. And as happened with the SABC Labour Court decision of a few weeks back, the lawyers said that Zuma must bear the costs. And the court came to a decision that he must show within 7 days why he should not bear the cost of the proceedings personally. Now, if the court decides that Zuma must bear the cost personally, it's very significant because we've had, I think they said over in Nkandla, 3 million rands in legal expenses were borne by the state. And we've had this repeated situation with not just in Nkandla, the so-called spy tapes, the 783 charges, continual litigation which we as taxpayers have had to pay. Now, if this happens, it means that any appeal that Zuma engages in from now on will be at his own expense. Now, he has a right to review the Public Protector's report, which has got potential criminal findings against him. It's possible that he can be charged with corruption, a number of other offences, in addition to the 783 coming from this thing. Now, if he wants to have put that on review, go to court and say this this report of the Public Protector was irregular, therefore would like you to review it. Even if he thinks he's going to win, he has got to do it at his own expense and take his chances, because it's unlikely he's going to win, but let's say he thinks he's going to win, he will have to put down some money on the table to get the council to bring a case like this. So that's very important. That has implications for a whole lot of other things with regard to Zuma, narrowing his options, because up to now he has been able to use the resources of the state to defend himself from going to jail in the case of the fraud charges, or from even facing charges. But in this case, he could also possibly go to jail. But in either case, his whole position as president of the country is weakened through this.
So what do you think will follow?
You know, we've already got situations where some people are challenging the report, saying that they didn't get a proper chance to put their evidence and things like this. And it's up to them. If Eskom wants to challenge this, they can go on review, and they also stand the chance of finding, if they lose, that the court says this is not, this is frivolous, and that you personally must bear the costs of the case. Secondly, as said, the president is the most implicated person. The Guptas are implicated, a whole lot of others. All of these people have the opportunity to take it on review. The Guptas have got a lot of money, but they are probably unlikely to take it on review, because it seems very likely that there will be no basis for setting aside findings with regard to them. So the whole situation is in a week where institutions of state have been left in a situation where their reputation has been undermined. The National Prosecuting Authority, after the withdrawal of the charges against Zuma, is made to look as like a pawn of the president. The SARS commissioner is implicated in the hostage taking, as well as the restructuring of SARS in a way that is harder to detect money laundering. The hawks have become a private police of the president, and they're not able to put a case together. You know, when you can't put a case together, you know, the average policeman spends a lot of time just getting clues, all these things, and then gives it to the prosecutor. They didn't do this. So what you have now is things are falling apart. The ANC is severely embarrassed, and it has to decide what to do. The support base for Zuma has for a long time now been limited, but people have not wanted to, they've not agreed on a successor, and they have to resolve that matter. And I myself don't agree with this approach which some people are taking. You know, they need to sit down with the president and have him remedy the things in the ANC and all this. The president is a problem that is irremediable. Really, he needs to go. And there needs to be a way of ensuring that he faces up to whatever legal processes ensue from this. That is what we as a country deserve, because the country has been pillaged over these years, and when you do that, you must be answerable for it.
Thank you, Raymond.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Crema Media's Polity about the implications of the State of Capture report.